Hey guys, welcome back to another video on my channel. So you're back in Deep Dark, and this is version 5, I believe. I could be wrong on that though. The correct version number will be in the title. So let's quickly cover what is new. This is a smaller update compared to what we have done in the past, and a few things. I'm recording this about a week before the update is ready to go live, so there are going to be a lot of bug fixes and changes between now and the release, but everything I showcase will be pretty much complete. So the first thing is called the Ancient Vase, and this is a block that is a vase covered in skull. It uses the 120 model for the vase because obviously when the vases are introduced, this will go alongside them. And how you actually find this vase is there is a structure that the actual vase will spawn in. Yes, this is the structure right here. Now, as you can see, this is a Warden cabin. It has some chests, which you can actually open these chests for loot. They have the ancient city loot in them. There are also some empty barrels, candles, and a blast furnace. But there is a rare occurrence where this structure can have some hidden things inside of it. I have actually finally found one. As you can see, there is a rare chance that you can find a structure with some sculk layers in the center right here. And if you break these, there will be a trapdoor under this back one. If you go down in to this actual cave or tunnel, you'll find 3 of the ancient pots. But these vases, they do something special, because if you actually try and click on them, they actually don't do anything. But you can crack away at the sculk using a hammer. A hammer can be crafted 2 sticks and 2 echo shards like so, and that will get you 1 hammer. The hammers have 64 durability. So let's quickly just finish cracking it. As you can see, it's used 1 durability. And this is now a new block. It's now called a vase. This vase can spawn with a lot of new items, actually only new items. First thing it can spawn with is ancient bone blocks. It can also spawn with ancient glass shards, and it should always spawn with a load of these. And then also sculk spores. We'll cover more about the sculk spores in a second. The ancient bone blocks don't do anything, they are only purely decoration. And they also spawn with 1/3 of the ancient core. This one, as you can see, is for water. If I quickly crack away at this pot, it should then give us a different one. No, we got the blue one again. Let's see if we can get a different one from cracking away at this pot. Hopefully we can. And we got the green one, which is, as you can see, passive. Now, if we really just place down a few of these actual pots, there is 3 cores in total. Now, to make use of these cores, you will need some glass shards, which you can also find within the actual vases. As you can see, it stores everything in it. Ignore the container.netheritebox.more, but it stores everything in it. It's like a shulker box, but with less inventory space, so you can put your items into these and take them anywhere in the world with you. Before we cover the cores, you actually need to craft yourself some ancient glass, which is using the ancient glass shards. As you can see, every 8 shards will give you 4 glass. And this is a glass block with a light. And it has a bit of a different texture than normal glass. If I quickly just show you, it has more of like a rusted sort of dirty look to it. Now, this ancient glass can also be used in a crafting table like so, with then one of the 3 cores. Now, each version of the jar depends on what mobs you can actually pick up within that jar. So, Ancient Jar Passive lets you pick up any mob that is the passive version. Water lets you pick up any mob that is classed as a water mob. We currently have the monster version, so let's for example pick up a Warden, because you can. So how you pick up a mob, you have to either creative or survival mode, you have to punch them. So there we go, as you can see I punched it, and it now contains a Warden. And I now have the jar will stay in my inventory, it will always contain that Warden, until I right click. And once again, the jars do have 64 durability, so you can only use them 64 times. I'm now currently recording this, literally I think like 2 days before the update is released. That's because the sculk spores didn't actually do anything until now. So how these sculk spores work is that they were designed by the person on screen. You can see their name somewhere on screen. As you can see, you place them down, and it's basically like a crop, like wheat, but it works more like sweet berry bushes. You don't place them on farmland, you have to place them on a dirt or grass block. And as you can see, they have 4 levels, the first one being not grown at all, second one being a little bit grown, and as you can see, the actual pods on them start to bloom, until this being the final level. Once you get to this final level, You then can click on it and you get yourself some of these, the skulk bulb. You can then use the same seed multiple times, so you don't have to go and hunt for a load of different types of seeds, as long as you don't physically break the actual block itself. One thing though, they will not drop any more of the spores unless you actually break them in survival mode. The skulk bulb. This is a block that is a light source. It emits a light level of 15, so the max light level it can, but it's small, so you can place it on like anywhere. It don't really take up that much room. It's not like a sea lantern that takes up a whole block, but the thing is with it is, as you can see, it can go on any face of a block. Top and bottom, and then also all sides. The next thing I want to cover is Tampered Deep Slate. This is the block you will be granted by achievements to escape the dimension. The actual texture has been updated, and as you can see, it matches the actual reinforced deep slate a bit more, but it's not reinforced, it's tampered. The point with this is we wanted a block that would represent reinforced deep slate, but was obtainable by the player. The next block is the block remover. And as you can see, this is a simple looking block. That is because it does one thing, and that is whenever it actually has a redstone power. Whenever it has a redstone power going to the actual block, it will break whatever block is in front of this red face. The red face can be faced in any direction. There are some blacklisted blocks that it can't break. One of them being Bedrock. You can actually add and remove from this tag. If we quickly just had ourselves a cobblestone generator right here, the block should generate on here. And as you can see, it is broken whenever it actually gets a redstone signal. If I was to break that, as you can see, it stops breaking. If I place that back in, it will start breaking again. This could also be a way to make like a concrete generator, because as you can see, I have concrete powder in my inventory, and whenever I place it down, it turns to concrete because of the water, and then it instantly breaks it. For anyone wondering how the block remover is crafted, it's like this: 4 stone pickaxes and 5 normal deep slate. The next thing is the skulk covered piston. This is currently a normal piston, just with skulk on top. Now in the next update, this will have different functionalities. We just couldn't get them bug fixed in time. It does work like a sticky piston though, so if for some weird reason you don't have slime, but you do have skulk balls, then you can obviously craft this instead of a sticky piston. Now one of the final things is this mob right here. This is the shadow cow, and this shadow cow can be found by putting a normal cow within darkness fluid. So if a normal cow goes into this water or darkness fluid, it will then be turned into a shadow cow. And basically what the shadow cow can do is it can be milked for darkness fluid. This is a way to make it so you can automatically get darkness fluid. Milking an ordinary cow isn't really OP, because milk can only really be used for 2 things: cakes and removing effects. But this darkness fluid is quite OP if you have yourself a spirit extractor, because then this can be automated into here, making this a lot more OP with an automated cow. And yes, for anyone wondering, this can be done through a dispenser. If I quickly just do that, as you can see, it milks the cow and the bucket goes onto the floor. But the thing with it is, it's got a timer. If we quickly just look at this entity and go data, get entity, and then this cow, as you can see, it has a timer. If we quickly just locate where it actually is, milk cooldown. The cooldown, I think, is about 5 minutes, but once that reaches 0 again, then you'll be able to milk it. So you can milk the cows more than once. They just have like a 5-minute timer between milkings. We have made changes to a lot of code names just to match them up with what they are actually called, as a lot of names were misnamed. As you can see, all the actual woods is now called the correct name. Also, a lot of code names had spelling mistakes in them. They have also been updated and corrected as well. One of the final things I want to cover is dispensers. They have actually had a huge update. The reason I actually added this is because I wanted these compressed XP blocks to be somewhat automated. So you can now place them inside of a dispenser, and as you can see, if you power it, it will place the block down. It will only place the block down if it can, so if there is no obstructions within the front of it. But with that, I also thought, what if the actual blocks or the dispensers could place down more than just the actual compressed sculk? And that is the case. The actual dispensers can place down any block that is inside of it, even things like saplings, as long as the conditions are met. So if this was to be bedrock, as you can see, it will not place the actual sapling down. Another thing that is new, we've actually added quite a lot of new statistics. Some of the main ones are interactions with potion emitters. So every time you interact with a potion emitter, interacts with spirit extractors, also interactions with vases, every time you activate a skulkling hive, and also every time you activate a spirit box, that will be counted as well. And the final thing in this update, there are also a lot more bug fixes and changes that I haven't mentioned, just because they're little tiny tweaks that isn't really worth noting. But the final thing is this skulk dial. The skulk dial can be crafted like so. The recipe is currently incorrect in the files, so I'll fix that. But 7 skulk blocks upside down with a Warden heart fragment in the center. And basically what the skulk dial does is, if I quickly just head over to the Warden, if you click within 8 blocks of a Warden, as you can see I've just done, it will tell you what entity the Warden is angry at, if it is angry at any, and the angry level. As you can see, the target is Shadow Cow entity, and then it also tells you what world they're in and what coordinates. And then also the anger level, which as you can see, it's angry. If I now click it again, as you can see, it is now not got a target, so it's optional empty, and its anger level is calm. We could actually just spawn an entity in front of it, so it obviously gets angry quickly. That is also a new addition in this update. Someone in the comments wanted a skulky vine covered skeleton. So you can now find a rare chance when they're spawning. Okay, maybe not rare, but you can find a chance for your skeletons or your murky skeletons to be a bit more covered in skull. So as you can see, it's calm. If I spawn a skeleton in, once that skeleton makes a signal move, so we can just punch it. There we go. If I click it now, you can see it's agitated. If I click it now, you can see it's angry at the skeleton, and its anger level is angry. And for this to work, you have to be within 8 blocks of the Warden you want to detect. Let's say it was angry at me, and I clicked on it, it will tell me that it's angry at me and the anger level as well. And that is basically it within this update. It's a smaller one, like I said. There isn't as much in this because it was more just fixing a lot of bugs and tweaking a lot of things. But there are some cool little features, especially redstone related ones. So if you did enjoy this video, do leave a like and subscribe. Leave any questions you may have in the comments and I'll try and answer them. And you can now go and download this version on CurseForge. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.